everybody. I'm excited to see everybody here, especially because it's the 3 best days of weather in San Francisco, and you're spending it in this dungeon down here. But I appreciate it. And Scott and the BITKRAFT team have impeccable timing to bring you all to San Francisco in this perfect week, and they've done an amazing job just coordinating this event. My name is Tim. I lead corporate development. I get to cover strategy. I think about M&A, specifically. Any founders out there or people looking to sell their companies, please reach out to me. And most importantly, I get to play, talk, and think about games. I basically have the job that I dreamed about as a kid. When I was playing countless hours of Counter-Strike, StarCraft, shout out to the Frost Giant team, and talking to my friends on Ventrilo. And it's a full circle experience. The origin of Discord is actually disrupting the legacy voice servers and building a 10x better product. But Discord is much more than just a voice and communication platform. It's a multi-dimensional network of 200 million monthly active users and 19 million active communities. It's where your friends are. It's where emerging trends like AI and Web3 are being formed. And it's also where gaming happens. 90% of our monthly active users are playing games. They're spending collectively 1.5 billion hours playing thousands of hit titles. And it's not just where gaming happens, it's where games are being discovered and where games are being built. But we recognize that we can't build everything ourselves. My first acquisition at Discord 3 years ago was Ubiquity 6, which seeded our platform strategy. And we rely on game publishers, developers, partners to build amazing experiences, activities, and games on and adjacent to our network. And we're just getting started. We're continuously investing in the infrastructure to make sure that those developers, partners, and studios can become successful on our platform. And given the immense opportunity, I want to invite a couple additional folks onto the stage just to talk about the new platform opportunities on Discord. Can you please welcome Laura from Discord, Tal from Infinite Canvas, and Vatsal from Jabali.
Is this on?
Yep.
We're so close.
Laura, I first met Laura actually through an acquisition of Centropy, which was an ML safety company. She now leads a lot of our key partnerships within the gaming space as well as across our platform. Laura, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your role at Discord?
Yes, absolutely. So as Tim mentioned, I joined Discord through an acquisition. I was at a machine learning startup before. And at Discord, I lead integrated partnerships, which essentially means that I have the privilege of seeing across all the different partner activations that we work on our team. Our team, of course, partners with gaming companies, gaming studios, gaming platforms, gaming publishers, but we also work with a broader array of folks that touch the gaming ecosystem. So we work with AI companies, we work with developers of all shapes and sizes, we work with media and entertainment companies, really anybody that's in that ecosystem that is looking to do more with Discord. We partner with companies, but the mission of our team is really to leverage partnerships to better serve players, to better serve the Discord user. So at the end of the day, our North Star is really making the experience better for Discord users. And there's 3 main areas that we spend most of our time and attention. The first is helping users find their friends and play with them wherever they are. So we've launched partnerships with Xbox and with PlayStation that integrate Discord features into consoles so that Discord users can easily find their friends and play with them. The second area that we really focus on is helping Discord users really deepen their love for games and showcase their fandom. And so we will partner with brands and companies on collectible drops. Collectibles are branded avatar decorations and profile effects that Discord users can buy in the Discord shop. And then the last area where we really spend our time is helping Discord users discover great games and great content. And so in that area, we partner with brands and companies on Quests, which is Discord's first advertising product. And we also work with companies on apps, which I think we're going to talk a lot about today. And apps, of course, are a way for developers and companies to build third-party experiences on Discord. And I'll just quickly wrap up by saying I've been at Discord for a little over 3 years now. And Tim touched on this, but in that time, it's been really amazing to watch the platform evolve from a communication platform into so much more. So today, Discord is a creation platform. It's a distribution platform. It's a discovery platform. It's a monetization platform. There's just so much you can do on Discord, and I'm excited to get into some of that on the panel.
That's awesome. I actually met Tal over a year ago when he was first starting to build on the Discord platform. And the one thing that really stood out with his co-founder was just the energy and excitement he had. Tal, can you tell a little about yourself, Infinite Canvas, and how it's been building on Discord?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's really wonderful to be here. Hopefully, I can bring some of that energy that stood out to you. But I'm Tal. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Infinite Canvas. We are a game studio that works on the intersection of user-generated games and AI. So we build games that are socially and algorithmically distributed, where the core game loop is powered by AI. And as Tim mentioned, we've been building on Discord for, I guess, a bit over a year now at this point, including one of the things that we'll end up talking about and showing off a little bit later, which is a AI-powered word game natively built directly into Discord. A little bit as Laura mentioned, we really think of Discord as this multifaceted platform for us. It handles everything from our communication with users and players and community building to monetization to distribution and discovery, and it's been a great experience building with them.
That's awesome. And Vatsal has led product and strategy at a number of marquee gaming companies, including Skills, AWS, Meta, and Oculus. It's a pleasure to have you on stage. Can you tell us a little bit about your key insights across those experiences and how you've translated that into your newest company, Jabali?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Again, my name is Vatsal Bhardwaj. I'm founder, CEO of Jabali. At Jabali, we are building an AI-native game engine to enable developers, designers, creators to make games, end-to-end games using natural language. To what you asked, I think, again, we are using Discord in multiple ways. We are using Discord to build communities, as we build our product, get early user feedback. But more importantly, we are also building on Discord as a way to onboard users to help them build on Discord itself. And to echo some of what Tal was saying and you were talking about, I think there is an opportunity here where you can take Discord, which was played together, to now build and publish together. And I think that's the direction we are taking. To the question you asked earlier, some of the key insights I had, especially from my time at early on Facebook and then Oculus, was for picking a platform to build on. The scale is important, but what's also important is the quality of the graph. And one thing, as we were thinking about which platform do we want to partner, build on, was really important was, we viewed Discord as the social graph is actually quite game-centric. It's about gamers connected with gamers and gamers connected with other content they like, which is, again, very pure and sets up right incentives for the ecosystem and the platform. Again, just contrasting against other platforms which may have been just a communication platform or a social platform, where those dynamics do become complicated down the line. And so for us as a startup, that was really important, that we are making bets on the right open platforms and where, again, the platform incentives and our incentives can actually be aligned.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And that's definitely something that we're focused on as a platform and a lot of the work that I and Laura are doing. Tal, I would love to learn more about when we first met, when you're starting to build on Discord. What prompted you to want to build on Discord? What got you excited and motivated to build on Discord?
Yeah, so we like probably most folks building games here, we were already on Discord primarily as a communication and community building platform. So we had a number of games, and still do a number of games on other platforms, things like Roblox, Fortnite, so on and so forth. And we were building our communities and actually communicating with most of our players on Discord and driving them to Discord to build those communities. And so started investing more and more into engaging our users on Discord and running events, all sorts of community building activations. And so we were already there in a pretty deep way. And one of the things that we started realizing was that people really were using the platform as just that, a platform, starting to kind of almost like hack their way into creating mini games and things of that nature. We've always been really focused on and believe that the future of game distribution is going to be social and algorithmic. And so it was kind of very natural for us to, we're like, oh, we're already building these communities. We have tons of users and players on Discord. It seems kind of silly to always be then, shuttling them to a different platform to then come back to Discord. And very natural to actually build directly onto Discord and be able to engage them already where they are, and where, and critically, I think, to your point, where their social graph already exists, and not just any social graph, but one that is intensely focused on gaming. And so it was a very natural evolution for us from using this platform primarily, again, for community building to actually then thinking about, well, actually, maybe we can just build directly onto the platform.
Yeah, that's awesome. Vatsal, I'm actually curious, similar question, but more from the infrastructure side, and as you work with developers that are building on your platform, but then also crossing that over to Discord, how has that shaped how you interact with the platforms? How does that interact with, just in terms of development?
Yeah, so let me answer that in two ways. So one, as we have started onboarding customers onto our platform, what we have found is that the community on Discord, especially developers, they're already more tech savvy. They're familiar with the platform. So onboarding them and getting them going, getting them to that, which is important again for us, getting them to that aha moment of I came in and very quickly I was able to build something and see something. I think that has worked really well for us already. The second thing I'll say is we also use Discord internally for development. And so, while we have a public Discord server, which is for community, even internally we use Discord for all kinds of things, for internally prototyping features to doing test runs for new features. So we utilize it in multiple ways.
That's awesome. And Tal, I guess from a developer perspective, building on Discord, how has the ability to connect your community with the social aspects, with the social graph, how does that influence the life cycle from development to the initial building hype, and then the launch, and then ultimately translating into long-term engagement and community?
Yeah, so we use Discord across that entire life cycle. So even as we're in early stages of development for things that may or may not actually ever fully go live, we're engaging our communities and actually starting to build hype for them, for projects, and getting feedback and kind of giving teasers and being very 2024 or I guess maybe 2025 about game dev, building in public there. And then that allows us to, when we are ready to actually launch projects, be able to really engage like a core group of super supporters right away, which is pretty important, especially for folks like us that are focused on socially and algorithmically distributing games, so that we can get that kind of early core mass of super users to really push the product, push the game forward. Then we take feedback from users and game players and quickly iterate on those projects, all directly through Discord. And then ultimately continue to engage and re-engage those users, not just through communication on the platform, but through perks that we give from our servers that connect to the game, and all sorts of other ways. So it really allows us to basically be building, I think, not just on our own, but actually with our players in a way that feels very natural and gives us, I think, a lot of advantages relative to the old days of kind of going off into a dark room, programming, and then eventually, serving it up to the players.
Laura, just hearing the feedback from both Tal and Vatsal, I'm curious to kind of get your input in terms of the community aspects of Discord. What are some of the success or case studies just in terms of like best practices on the community side?
Yeah, absolutely. Tal actually hit on this very well. When you're looking to build a community on Discord, in terms of best practices, we always tell people start early. Even when you are pre-launch, you don't have a product to show them. Before you launch your product, Tal, that's all, you are the product, right? And you want to be able to launch to somebody, some community, right? So start your community on Discord really early. Start building that, even if it's small, that small community of folks that are really interested in what you're working on and want to learn more. And then as you get to kind of the prototyping phases, you can start building directly on Discord. You can use our activity and our bot platform to actually put prototypes right on the platform and then get quick feedback from your users in your community. But if you haven't started your community, then you're not going to have that feedback cycle, right? So starting your community earlier, using your community to really iterate on your product, listen to your users, find out what they like. And then, of course, when you're ready to launch your product, if it's a product that you launch right on Discord, or even if you're launching on another platform, really leveraging your community to be those, evangelists for you, to like go out and talk about your product and what you've built and how great it is. And one thing that's, great about Discord is it makes that kind of organic marketing through friends sharing with friends super easy because everybody's hanging out with their friends on Discord. So those are just kind of some of the things we talk to partners about.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you mentioned,
Yeah, Laura, I just want to add to what you said. One thing I'll also say is, while it's very easy to get going on Discord, it takes a while to set up your server correctly, figure out onboarding, like all of those things. So at least in our case, we hadn't even built a prototype when we set up our Discord server. And I think that proved to be really helpful because when we were, in fact, ready, we had a server set up. We had thought through how we are going to onboard, what channels. So not to say any of this is hard, but it does take time. So just plus oneing to what you just said on starting early.
I'm curious, how early did you start before even starting the project?
So, I'll share a quick funny story. So me and my colleague Tofik, who is in the audience here, we were thinking of what should the user experience look like. And after 14 hours of exhaustion of trying to design everything, we just said, you know what, just screw this, we'll just use Discord as a way to onboard customers and as a way to enable them to build products. So we, I think, within 1 month of development, actually started thinking about, okay, we need to have a Discord server set up. And in month 3 or so, when we did our first limited time prototyping and exposing the product to 10, 15 customers, we actually had Discord server set up even back then. So we started, really, really early.
Yeah, that's great. Laura, you kind of mentioned that community is just the starting point for developers in terms of building a community and then engaging their audience. I'm curious, with the launch of Open Ecosystem last week, apps are another way to engage end users natively on the Discord network. Can you talk a little bit about the app strategy at Discord?
Yeah, absolutely. So building your community on Discord is I do like to tell partners, it's a first step. It's a very important first step, but it really is just a first step. Something I like to share with partners is that 80% of the engagement that happens on Discord is actually happening in these small private friend servers. So think, 5 to 15 friends that are hanging out in a private space. And so that then, begs the question of, okay, so how do I meet my prospective players where they are? Like, how do I get in those private friend spaces? And so a lot of what we do on the partnerships team is actually work with companies on strategies that help them do that. And so, I previously mentioned Quest, which is our paid media product. We also have collectibles. Both of those products are better suited for more established companies, but they target users wherever they are, and so they help you kind of extend your influence on Discord beyond just the bounds of your server. But my favorite tool for getting outside of your server is apps. And what's great about apps is users can access them from wherever they are on the platform. Last week, we made a big announcement on Discord that we publicly launched our activity platform. So just a little bit of context here. Apps have been around on Discord for a very long time. The first iteration of apps that we launched were called bots. If you're a Discord user, you're probably quite familiar with bots. But more recently, we launched a new type of app called an activity. An activity is an iframe. It's an interactive iframe that you can build into on Discord, so you can build games and other great content right into it. And last Thursday, we announced that we had launched the platform publicly, meaning that anybody can now come to Discord, build an activity, and launch it to our global user base of 200 million monthly active users, which is pretty amazing. We also announced last week that we launched monetization for activities. Monetization has been around for bots for a little while, but now you can build an activity, you can launch it globally, and you can monetize it, which is pretty amazing. And our goal with the activity platform and with the app ecosystem in general is really just to allow developers and companies like Tal and Vatsal to be able to build and scale entire businesses on Discord. And what's exciting is we already know that this can work. So Midjourney is a name that I'm sure everyone here is very familiar with. Midjourney got its start on Discord. And a fun fact about Midjourney is that there are 20 million people in the Midjourney server on Discord, but their app is used far, far more outside of their server than in it. So again, apps are just this amazing tool that if you are a developer and you want to extend your reach on Discord beyond your server, building an app is a great way to do that, a great way to get into those private friend servers.
Yeah, that's amazing. I still remember my first Midjourney experience in creating images, and it was a mind-blowing experience. But it was even more fun when I was able to bring it to my friend group, and we were iterating together. Tal, I'm curious, with this announcement around the open ecosystem, how does that change your strategy? How do you think about that as a developer in terms of building your game, but then also reaching end users as well?
Yeah, so as I mentioned earlier, we really try to meet our players where they live. So we've been building on Discord for quite a while, but we were obviously a bit more limited in the kinds of experiences that we could build for players if we wanted to keep them directly on Discord. So what apps really allows us to do, and I think we have a demo that we can show shortly, or even while I guess I'm talking, is actually meet those players where they live inside of our server, but also inside of other servers. So we're going to show one activity that we've been working on, an early demo of a AI-powered word game called BITKRAFT. So as you can see, and this is happening live, my co-founder, I think, is playing it in the background. He was able to just launch the experience instantly and immediately drive players into a gameplay experience pretty seamlessly, and a pretty rich gameplay experience. So in this case, he is attempting to solve a word puzzle where we take words and ask the player to perform operations, verbs, so on and so forth, to get to a target word. And so players can do this pretty seamlessly, instantaneously where they are. They can do it alone, of course, but also they can actually do it with friends and bring others in, which creates a pretty interesting social experience. And because Discord, is natively a social experience, as you can see, players can share content and the game like instantaneously with that graph that you mentioned that are, other game players. So exactly the types of audiences that we want to reach. And so that enables us to do really fun things, like set up, competitive daily kind of modes, which my co-founder may attempt to try to solve. It's a little bit harder than some of these early puzzles that he's playing right now. And we can actually integrate that with perks and other things inside of our server and other servers to create a pretty seamless, rich experience for players that happens exactly where they are, where they're already playing, where they're already hanging out with friends. And that's really just the beginning. I don't know if we're going to show it off now, but we can can integrate the game with bots and other apps to give things, like leaderboards and other types of experiences, and create like a pretty 360 environment for a game player to come find something, play something with friends, and continue to experience it with others as they move forward. So it really changes what we can do, and this word game is just one example of what's possible.
That's awesome. How do you think about the different surface areas on Discord, and how do you optimize it for, whether it's for end users or just reducing the friction to enter your game or drive new primitives within your game?
Yeah, so we always try to think about making games based on the strengths of the particular platform that we're on, because users have different expectations and different behaviors. So one of the things that's great about Discord is that it does have multiple surface areas. So there are those small, 10 to 15 person, kind of core friend group servers. And so we build our game to encourage kind of intimate social sharing and social gameplay among people that are friends. And so as part of that, it's like encouraging or creating game loops where the mechanics actually encourage you to help a friend or compete with a friend, prove that you're much smarter than everyone else. I think I just got dislodged from a leaderboard, so I'm already a little bit upset about that. And so we really focus on building features for those types of servers, but then also thinking about how do we create surface areas that encourage sharing outside of just those small friend groups. So one of the things, you mentioned Midjourney, which obviously is used to create content. One of the reasons why I think Discord is so great for AI-powered games and products is because inherently a lot of what you do is create content through your gameplay. And the first thing you want to do is share that, and potentially share that more widely. And so we also create sort of opportunities for players to actually kind of, I don't want to say spam, but broadcast is what I would say, to larger audiences. And then encourage players potentially to show up in centralized servers for additional perks and other things like that, where they can compete and play with a much broader pool, maybe meet new friends. So overall, I think what's so great about the platform is that you can really kind of build for all of these different use cases in one place and have it instantaneously happen seamlessly for a user, which is pretty different from how you can potentially build on other platforms.
Yeah, that's great. Vatsal, I'm curious from your angle how you think about the open ecosystem, and then how does that expand the aperture in terms of the different games and developers that you're supporting?
Yeah, no. So right now, what we are using is activities for us is in development, but we're using bots. And for us, we can enable our users to make full games within a single bot thread, so they can go through a series of prompts, and our backend is all AI-based, and they can make full games. And where we are enabling the community is quickly being able to make the game you want to make as a creator, and then sharing it with the community. So we have separate communities set up where the game you make gets showcased, it gets published to other users in the community. So we're using bots, and one of the things I'm excited about is with activities, with some of the things which we saw missing in bots, like ability to do more stateful type applications, we are actually quite excited about now moving some of it to activities to be able to not just build, but play and share and do multi-user creation in context of Discord itself.
Yeah, I just want to quickly just harp on that, which is it's really amazing what people can do together when they're both playing the game on the communication platform and able to chat right there with all sorts of different users. And it really turns it, even a single-player asynchronous experience ends up becoming this kind of more social multiplayer creative experience. And that's just very unique to the platform and very powerful for driving greater engagement and retention.
Yeah, that's amazing. Definitely the superpower of Discord is being able to have the multiplayer experience, especially with your friends. As Laura mentioned, just in terms of how much of our usage is really that core friend use case. And Laura, I'm curious, as Tal and Vatsal has been talking about different apps, bots, and activities, I'm curious, what are some of the most successful apps on Discord?
Yeah. So before I, talk about this a little bit, I do want to just say that, we are so early in the life cycle of our app ecosystem, which is a huge opportunity, I think. There's so much greenfield for, all different types of developers to come and really make a name for themselves on the platform. And are already starting to see a ton of great successes. So, on the bot side, of course, I mentioned Midjourney, but there's a bunch of other companies that have really scaled on Discord. So there's Pika, there's Vigil, and then the activity platform is, it's much newer, but we're already starting to see a lot of breakout successes. So we had a game that launched recently called Death by AI. It's a very fun party game. Check it out. I promise you'll laugh. But in their first month after launch, they hit 7 million players and already had thousands of paying subscribers. And it's not like a game name that you would recognize, right? So that was pretty impressive. We had another game that launched recently called Chef Showdown, which hit 1 million players in its first weekend. So we're already starting to see these signs of really positive traction, which is exciting for us. And what's also exciting is we're seeing like different types of content be popular, and so it's really encouraging to us that there's lots of different types of things that can do well on the platform. So games are an obvious popular type of content on Discord, but one of our more popular activities is YouTube Watch Together, where you can go watch YouTube videos with your friends. I had originally thought that multiplayer games were going to kind of take the cake because Discord's such a social platform. And so I thought, all the breakout successes on at least the activity platform would be multiplayer. We had a game that launched recently called Farm Merge Valley, which is a solo player farming game, and it's done amazingly well. So it kind of broke that, thought that I had. So really just goes to show that there's, lots and lots of opportunity, especially given like where we are in the life cycle. There's just so much you can do and build on the platform right now.
Yeah, Farm Merge Valley is one of my favorite games. I'm spending more time than I would admit just building up a farm and then showing it off. Just kind of thinking about building on a platform, we all know it's not always straightforward. It's not easy to build on a platform. Sometimes there's challenges. Tom, I'm curious, what has been some of the challenges building on Discord?
This, I think, is the part where I get to ask you for stuff and you try to say yes in front of everyone. No. Look, I think like any platform, especially one that's still relatively early in its development of these types of experiences, there's always some growing pains. As a developer, I can always ask for more distribution and discovery. There's plenty of tools now, especially for activities, but it's still early. And so that's definitely an area that we'd love to see you guys continue to push on. We do a lot of hand-to-hand combat still in terms of like partnering with other servers and really trying to get ourselves that sort of early start. But continue. Would love to honestly be able to pay you guys to promote games as well. So I can't believe I'm admitting that, but yes. And then beyond that, it's still early in terms of monetization and some of the things that we can do with you guys directly in the experience or in the activity. And so, more tools, more opportunities, more different ways to actually monetize and connect and engage that monetization, not just with our activities, but maybe with other things inside of servers and some of the other tools that you guys have built. And then, of course, it's any platform, especially new one, testing and actually development is still a little bit more challenging, perhaps, than some more mature platforms. But as I said, what's really great about the platform is you guys have been incredibly, receptive, responsive, and because so many of the folks on our team are native Discord users, we really feel like we kind of understand the audience and understand the user base in a way that is pretty remarkable. So yeah, the normal growing, challenges and pains, but this is where I get to push you guys to, open up more featuring, and you should feature our games, of course, and no one else's.
And Laura, I'm curious if you have any just like feedback or best practices.
No, I mean, I think you're right. And what's actually nice for me is I would say I'm not surprised by any of the feedback. It's stuff that we've known about, for a while, and we've actually been investing in a lot. And so, as Tal mentioned, I would say, and our comms team is probably going to hate me for saying this, but like discovery on Discord previously was really hard, and we've invested a ton. That's one of the main pieces of feedback we got from developers was we need better discovery tools, and so we've invested a ton in that. And so we've launched the app launcher, which is our new kind of app discovery tool, which is amazing. We've made apps more accessible so that you can access apps and play with them wherever you are on the platform. We've launched rich presence for activities, which is one of my favorite things, which essentially means that if you are playing an activity, so if I'm playing Tal's activity in Discord, my quote unquote status on Discord shows that I'm playing that activity. My friends can see it. Anyone I'm in a server with can see it, and then they can even request to join if they want to. So we're really investing in that, and we actually have a lot more discovery features coming in the roadmap. So more to come. And then on the monetization piece, same thing. We just launched monetization for activities. I'd say we still have a bit of a ways to go to be a full monetization platform with all the bells and whistles that you would want. And so but it's on the roadmap. We're investing in it all, we're making a big bet on the activity platform, and I'm very excited to see over the next 12 months all the new features and tools that are launched.
Yeah, it's really exciting. And Vatsal, I'm curious from your perspective, what are some of the challenges that you've experienced as you started to build on the Discord platform?
Yeah. So first of all, I just agree with what Tal said. Again, very excited about the platform, and in general, I would say it's actually very quick to get going and build something. Where we found ourselves iterating is on the product side. It requires different way to think about your user experience when you're building on Discord as an interface. So I think that's one area. The second I would say is, and again, as a new platform, some of these are to be expected. I think, we are, in our use case, we are taking a game engine and trying to embed it into an iframe. So, some challenges we ran into were just maintaining state. The other things I would say are, and we are early on this, but getting more insights and more ways to talk to users. So, we often find lurkers in on our server, and I wish there was an easy way for us to be able to have a conversation with them, more one-to-one, to understand, if they are not engaged on the server, what else we could be doing for them. So I would say those are some of the things. And yes, I'll also agree with Tal on, more discovery and more monetization will always be appreciated.
Laura, I'm curious if you have any feedback on that point.
I think in terms of being able to talk to your users, that is a tough one. I think there's some server best practices you can use to help with that. I think there's honestly some bots you can use to help with getting feedback from your users and chatting with them more often. And in terms of you said you're trying to build a whole game engine in an iframe, and yes, I imagine that is tough. But I would say there's so much that's coming. We are investing in this platform so heavily, and so just hearing this feedback, and if anybody else in the audience has additional feedback to share, is so helpful for us because we're hungry for it. We want to know what tools and features are going to be the most helpful, so that we can quickly put those in our roadmap. So thank you guys for sharing that.
Yeah, definitely. If people have feedback, we love to hear feedback, and that drives a lot of our product strategy and where we're investing. The other topic that came up a couple of times is just AI. Discord has become the nexus of AI and gaming. I'm curious, Tal, if you have any feedback just in terms of why Discord has become such a hotbed for AI and even specifically AI-powered games.
Yeah, so I think there's a few reasons. So one is just that I think to your point earlier, the audience is this really, great sort of combination of gamers and technologists and enthusiasts and tinkerers. And so it's sort of the natural audience for a lot of this new technology and playing around with it. But I also think has a lot to do with the structure of the platform. So one of the things we discovered is that a lot of AI products and AI games, as I mentioned earlier, they're part game, part content creation engine. And so users and players naturally, when they create, they want to share and then kind of have that feedback into their game loop. And because Discord is sort of structured so well for these kind of both intimate conversations and intimate server groups and larger groups, it ends up, I think, being a really great place for that kind of core mechanic to play out. I mean, one of the really interesting things that we saw is with this technology, right, it typically tends to enable a lot of personalization and individualization. And so servers playing different playing our game in different servers end up developing like different culture is the word that we use internally, where the game actually, these games tend to play out a little differently because you can imagine that a lot of what happens is some player does something, they create something as part of the game, they see something happening there, then they kind of riff on it, right? They remix, and that might be different from a different server's culture. And so I think it's just both the nature of the people on the platform and the way it's structured really encourages people to feel like they have a safe place and a great place to be able to create and then ultimately share in a way that's pretty unique and feels really in tune with what the core technology does.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Vatsal, I know you're spending a lot of time in the AI space. I'm curious, from a developer angle, how are you thinking about AI, and then how can you bring that alive on Discord?
Yeah, so a couple of thoughts. One is, things are moving, and I'm not saying anything which you all don't know. Things are moving very, very rapidly. Like as we are building an engine, building the platform, things are moving very, very rapidly. Things which, experiences which look like toys today will evolve to being, first-class professional tools in very, very quick time. And I think it's both the rapidly falling costs of AI. I think these costs are coming down by 90% every year, plus the accessibility. And Discord has a big role to play on introducing, to what Tal was saying, these early adopters very, very quickly to different AI experiences. So I think both those things are definitely driving, are definitely tailwinds if you're building on Discord.
Yeah, that's awesome. Laura, I'm curious if there's any observations that you're seeing within AI companies. You mentioned Midjourney, you mentioned Vigil. Are there any best practices in terms of the intersection of AI and gaming?
Honestly, I don't think there's any that we haven't already really talked to. But yeah, I would just say, we have such a, we have a user base that's so hungry for these, new games, new innovations, especially when it's around AI and gaming. And so, yeah, I just think it's like Discord is the place to be if you're at that intersection and, you're looking for users to interact with, to launch your game to. Yeah.
Awesome. I know we're coming up at time. Just one last question for the panel. What advice would you give to if you're building on Discord? And then a secondary question, what's next for you and your company on Discord?
Yeah, so I think I would just say ship. Like the beauty of the platform is that you can build really quickly, you can get it in front of users, and you can get their feedback and build together with them. And so that would be my advice. Is like if you even have kind of an idea, just don't even really think too much about it. Just actually go and build and get started. And then in terms of what we're going to be doing for the future, honestly continuing to develop WordCraft and a bunch of other games and properties as activities, and as I said, kind of further integrating them into these social communities, and kind of trying to create this new blended kind of gameplay content creation engine that we think really fits the platform.
Awesome. Vatsal?
Yeah, I think Tal said it really well. I think start early and iterate. And again, for us, it's like doubling down on activities and finding new ways to engage the community on Discord.
Laura, anything on the Discord side?
So my colleague Adriana and I, we give a talk to developers a lot on how to build on Discord and all the different tools that we've launched. And we always end the talk with a slide that says, build cool shit. Because we can talk ad nauseum about all the tools and the features and everything that we've done on the platform. But at the end of the day, the power is really in the hands of the developers. And I truly, truly believe, our user base is so engaged. They're so hungry for new content. They're spending so much time on Discord. So I truly, truly believe that if you can come to the platform and you can build cool shit, you will get traction and you will find success. So I'd just leave you with that.
That's awesome. I want to thank the panelists. I want to thank Scott and the BITKRAFT team. Let's go build cool shit.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tim.